After you step in, don't swing immediately. You can move in very fast. Move in fast, but then wait, and then flick. This is how you synchronize with the ball's rhythm. Alright, in this video, we're going to break down the backhand banana flick. First, let's address a common question. Short pips and medium pips can also execute this flick. Let me show you. See? You can flick with pips out rubber. I played with medium pips for 3 years when I was young, so I have a good feel for how pips out rubber behaves. For example, against backspin, my flick drive used to be very effective back then. Later, my coach said that a pips out style had limited potential. That even if you made the national team, you'd just be a practice partner. So, I switched to inverted rubber. At higher levels of play, especially in topspin rallies, pips out rubber loses its advantage. It's fine when your opponent's spin isn't heavy, but once they load up the topspin, pips out really can't handle the pressure. Today, we're going to cover 3 aspects of the backhand flick technique. First, let's talk about a common mistake amateur players make with short balls. They take small, hesitant steps. For this shot, your footwork must involve a large, committed step. It's better to overstep than to understep. If you fall short, you won't be able to reach the ball properly. So, always take a big step, whether you're moving sideways or forwards. Now, for the flick itself. Many amateurs approach the ball facing the table squarely. When you do this, you're not really flicking. You're just doing a bigger version of a push or an in-table backhand drive. To execute a proper flick, you must get into position with your body turned sideways. Right shoulder forward, left shoulder back. This is the correct flicking posture. You cannot flick with your shoulders parallel to the table. Remember, right shoulder forward, left shoulder back. That's point number 1. Always turn your body slightly for the flick, don't execute it facing forward. Flicking straight on makes it hard to adjust your stroke. You must turn sideways and aim your shoulder and elbow towards the incoming ball. Let me demonstrate. During your backswing, your shoulder and elbow should point at the ball. If your shoulders are parallel to it, your setup is wrong. You should point the tip of your elbow towards your opponent. This ensures you're fully coiled and ready to generate power. When I coach, I see players who think they're doing this, but their body is still flat. Your elbow must aim at the ball. Watch me demonstrate. Elbow to the ball. Elbow to the ball. Only then can the rest of your motion be considered a true flick. Don't aim with your shoulder, aim with your elbow. To summarize the first point, take a large step in. Lean your weight forward. Turn your body sideways, and aim your elbow at the ball. Point 2. Timing is the most critical part of the flick. You're slow to the ball because you're waiting and watching it for too long. As I've said, once the opponent serves, the moment the ball bounces on their side of the table, you must start to move and make your judgment. So for this shot, the rhythm is step in fast, then wait. You can't just wait in your starting position. You'll be too late. The correct sequence is, judge the ball, step in quickly, and then wait for the right moment to strike. With the flick, you move to the ball and then wait. You don't wait before moving. That's too slow. The rhythm should be, ready, step, wait, flick. Once you get into position, you must respect the timing of a short ball. The rhythm for the flick is step in fast, then wait. You must get to the ball quickly, pause, and then execute the stroke. Now, for a short push or flip, sometimes if you have time, the rhythm is simply step, then push. When you're rushed, you have to execute the push at the exact same time your foot lands. Don't wait until you are perfectly balanced to push the ball. For many shots, you won't have time. You have to adapt to the situation. Don't be too rigid or textbook. Sometimes, if you read the push well, you can step in quickly, get set, and execute a long, aggressive push. But if the opponent's serve is deceptive, your hand has to be making contact as your foot is landing. Your hand and foot must be synchronized. If you wait for your foot to be fully planted before your hand moves, you will always be late. In a match, situations change rapidly. An expert serve can be very deceptive with its length and spin, so you can't wait for a perfect setup on every ball. Often, you're forced to move your hand and foot simultaneously. The ideal is to step first, then stroke, but you have to be flexible. This is especially noticeable on the forehand side. Players are slow because they always wait for their foot to land before pushing, and by then it's too late. If you're already late getting to the ball, waiting even longer to plant your foot is simply not an option. In this scenario, you must step and push simultaneously. Sometimes, your hand must make contact as your foot lands. This is the technique you use when your read is slow. For amateur players, just getting the ball on the table is the top priority. However, the banana flick is an offensive in-table stroke, so the standard is higher. You cannot move and hit at the same time. The rhythm must be step, pause, flick. You absolutely must have that moment of pause in your rhythm. Because if you're late, you'll either miss the ball completely or fail to grip it, causing you to misread the spin. So, when you move in, you must follow that step, wait, flick sequence. This will make your shot consistent. So why do we need that pause? Because it's a short ball. It doesn't have the forward momentum of a long ball that comes right at you. That's why I must step in fast, establish my position with a pause, and then accelerate to grip the ball. This is crucial. For a simple push, timing isn't as critical, but the flick demands a high level of anticipation. You must move in quickly, but don't just swing as you arrive. This is where so many players make mistakes. You're making errors because you lack that pause. You're not connecting with the ball at the optimal contact point for a short ball. You get into position and immediately swing. You must pause and let the ball come into your hitting zone. The backhand side requires a much greater sense of spacing than the forehand. After you step in, don't swing immediately. You can move in very fast. Move in fast, but then wait, and then flick. This is how you synchronize with the ball's rhythm. Don't just rush in and swing. Every technique has its own rhythm, and this is the rhythm for the banana flick. Point 3, another common amateur mistake, is about the contact distance for the flick. You must adjust your position based on where the ball is. This is different from a push, which you can execute from various positions. The flick is not so forgiving. For the flick, you must find the ideal contact point. So, should you execute the flick close to the ball, or do you need some distance from it? The flick is an offensive stroke. An offensive stroke is different from a push. Because you are actively generating power, you need to create space. You must maintain some distance from the ball. Many players get too close and end up jamming themselves. For example, on a half-long ball, if you get too close, you'll be jammed. This is a classic example of getting jammed. The flick requires a certain amount of space. It's not a shot where getting closer helps you grip the ball better. You must have a good sense of spacing. So when you're flicking, you must adjust based on where the ball bounces. If the ball's first bounce is short, my backswing starts further forward. If the bounce is deeper, my backswing starts further back. You need room to accelerate, so you can't be too close to the ball. If you're too close, you can't generate power properly, which leads to errors. You need some space, but not too much, or you'll be out of position for the next shot. Therefore, there's no fixed position for your backswing. For a very short ball, I prepare here. For a slightly longer one, I prepare further back. This means your flick requires excellent anticipation of the ball's length and depth. You have to find the contact point. If the ball is shorter, your hand reaches forward. If it's closer to your body, your hand comes back. If it's even longer, your body has to give way to create space for the flick. You can't just approach every short ball and try to flick from the same spot. A longer one will jam you, and a shorter one will be out of reach. You have to understand that the flick has the highest demands for spacing and timing. The exact form of your stroke isn't the most important thing, as long as you can properly grip the ball. So, when you move in, your first job is to locate the ball's position. Adjust your positioning and timing based on the depth of the incoming ball. You must constantly adjust your backswing based on the ball's length. Don't just rush in and swing, you have to judge the depth first. Whether the ball is higher, lower, faster, or slower, I have to actively find the right contact point. The contact point is what you're aiming for, but your body's position, forward or back, must be adjusted based on the incoming ball. I need to adjust where I place my racket to prepare, and that's how you find the optimal contact point. If you always try to flick from one fixed spot, you're just getting lucky. You'll get jammed very easily. That's the third point. Understand that your preparation point requires constant adjustment and searching.